first to say to every news media, she will win her seat. Take that to the bank. Because the God is for you, he's more than the whole world against you.
I am now today calling for the resignation of Carlisle, and also Chris Gonzalez. They should resign from office because clearly you do not want to do this job.
But I refuse to be a township resident and allow people like this to come into our town and play nickel-dime games with my real life. I refuse to do that. So what's important is that we went to the caucus, now she want to be disruptive. Give me 3 minutes, ma'am. Give me my 3 minutes. We went to a caucus.
Let's break down exactly what happened today, right? It was a special board meeting. Henyard was able to complain a bit. She does the same thing. Now she's basically calling for the trustees to quit, to resign. You know, that's not going to happen. And she's pushing a lot of the emotion, the heartstrings of seniors not going to get help. They're not getting assistance. And it's only the fault of the trustees, not the fact that she's running the show and put this environment together of why everyone is arguing and fighting. And she's still going to go after Napoleon Harris. Every meeting, trust me, she's going to mention this man's name and others, I think Thaddeus Jones, that they believe that the trustees are being controlled by these forces.
Since day one when I came into office here, y'all had a $4.6 million deficit. A deficit for a township under Franklin forever. Who would have thought, right? And when I came in, I cleaned all that up. You now have $8 million, $9 million surpluses in all our accounts. Why can't show that a nice-looking, young, bright, young lady, intelligent, is actually handling her business in 2 big positions? Why ain't don't show y'all that? Why I gotta be about, look at her hair, look at her nail. What that got to do with what I do? I'm talking about my work speaks for itself. I want you to educate the public on my work. Judge me on that. You judge me on that, I'll win. Hands down, all day. You put all of them together, and I'm gonna win by a landslide against everybody. Because I care about the community, and that's why I stand quiet for y'all, because I really care about the job that I hold.
The trustees didn't show up. It was not held in where the other special meeting, I think it was in Dalton Park District, it was held in Harvey, which is extremely interesting because Christopher Clark, the mayor of Harvey, is running for a supervisor. So this is an interesting article. I'm going to show this with you guys. So seeking township seat, Mayor Christopher Clark authorizes the use of City Town Hall for Thornton Township special meeting. This move is a political ploy for Clark, whose team is working with Tiffany Henyard supporters to get him elected. This is what sources are saying. Christopher Clark has authorized the use of Harvey City's Hall's council chambers to host the Thornton Township Board meeting of Trustees today at 4 p.m. The decision was made in light of Township's current inability to use this building due to a lapse in insurance coverage caused by non-payment. So in this article, they're saying that, hey, this is a political move for Clark, who's attempting to build inroads with the embattled Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard in an effort to cut off Napoleon Harris. So this is the battle right now. It is Henyard on one side, Christopher Clark. Who knows if they even like each other? Obviously, at this point, they probably believe that they need to group up together to try to take down Napoleon Harris. They believe that Napoleon Harris is controlling the trustees, the Trustee Gonzalez and Trustee Carla, that they're not doing anything independently, that they're being controlled.
You have seen us call 7 different meetings. 4 of them was regular scheduled board meetings, and 3 was special board meetings. Unfortunately, each time the Board of Trustees, the 2 individuals, Trustee Carmen and Trustee Chris, did not attend either board meeting. Caused us to not have a quorum, as you guys know how government works. We cannot move forward. I was speaking now to the caucus today. We did have court for the caucus. You guys know I am suing Napoleon Harris and also DOT's organization for that illegal, unconstitutional meeting that they held on December 3rd that was improper, and that was voter suppression at its highest level.
So Clark, which is interesting because I don't know if you guys checked out some of the residents that were talking during the comment section. Some people believe that Christopher Clark is way worse than Henyard. I mean, Christopher Clark will kick you out of a meeting.
I just have to say, every meeting I've been to with Ms. Henyard, even though, sure, there are a lot of things we would disagree on, but I have to say, she is 10 times fairer and less of a dictator than Mayor Clark. And really shame on the media and for giving Tiffany all this attention And meanwhile, I was arrested in this very room for videoing, just like you saw me. My alderwoman is right here, Colby. She was arrested twice, false arrests, because she dared to ask how Clark is spending money. So this man wants to run to take her job.
As a resident of Harvey, we're not able to do this. I don't know if you know or have been watching any of the videos that the city of Harvey puts out during their city council meetings, but Mayor Christopher Clark routinely violates our freedom of speech. We're not able to make any sound or clap or anything from our seats without being charged with disorderly conduct and disrupting a meeting. We're not able to, we're also intimidated. He uses the police force to intimidate us. He uses the police as weapons to keep us under control and under subjection to the way he runs the meetings.
This is pure intimidation.
Please, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this in the morning. Remove it, things will change. Until that time, we will stand in recess.
Mayor Clark, how dare you send your police after peaceful residents?
Even Tyrone Ross is screaming at residents.
Those who didn't leave were sealed alive in their homes at 3 a.m. while they were sleeping.
Some shocking videos circulating on social media tonight show some Harvey residents boarded up into their own apartments.
Some of these people were elderly, one of which had just been diagnosed with cancer.
Was deemed uninhabitable by professional certified code enforcement officers. Not the police department, not the fire department. Now, for example, hear me good, and I didn't interrupt you, and don't interrupt me.
They're very aggressive compared to Henyard, but this is the group. This is what I think they're trying to do. Not say that they still should have shown up. You know, my opinion, you show up and you tell her what she's saying is wrong. You go back and forth. You do the battle. I think the way things work in Dalton, the trustees in Dalton always show up. They always show up and they go back and forth with her until there was some issues with hiring and firing, where they're trying to push Ronnie Burge as a police chief. There were certain things that they had to step back and say we're not coming for this. But for the most part, they show up. Trustee Belcher, they go back and forth with her. They say no, I'm not voting for this. So there's more of a dialogue. There's more of that back and forth. But here, they're not showing up, and then Henyard speaks for an hour, and it was basically a pro Tiffany environment.
When you go to your social events, you hear them talking about our township. It's embarrassing. You're not hurting Tiffany Henyard. You're hurting each and every resident of this township by not showing up to do your fiduciary responsibilities. You were appointed or elected to do your job. Do your job. If you don't want to do your job, step aside. There are other residents that would love to sit in those seats and do the job that is put to them by the statute. We gotta take care of our people.
And there's no one there to say, no, you're not correct at that point or this point. So that's the strategy they're using. Clark is running for the township supervisor on a ticket called Reform Thornton Township Party. He's joined by City Administrator Corin Davis and Alderman Dominique Randall, along with two other individuals, all running as trustees. Township staff personally asked Clark, whose attorneys are now working in tandem with the Henyard camp. Specifically, they are attempting to use criticism over the caucus early this month to try to cut off Harris's path to victory. This is pure politics now. At this point, there's people grouping together to try to make the other side look really bad. And right now, we're going into the new year and there's no insurance. Seniors are going to have to figure out a way to get what they need to get because, the township bus is not going to show up, and the other services and the other events, I guess those are not going to happen anymore.
We still have no coverage as relates to the buildings or our vehicles. So that means that services in our buildings will have to come to a halt. We cannot pick residents up. We cannot access our buildings due to the liability. If someone falls, if a car crash happens, car accident, we cannot accept that risk. So therefore, that's why you see 333 building is closed down. We will now have to move forward with closure of our other buildings And I did not want to go in this new year like this, and this is why we call it special, to take care of the much needed business before.
This is definitely a battle here. And I made some videos about Christopher Clark, and obviously they're not as popular as Henyard, but he's a problem.
We've told you about the ongoing investigations over spending in Dalton, often causing blow-ups between the mayor and residents. And tonight, tensions boiled over in Harvey.
How dare you send your police after peaceful residents?
Business owners there say they're being slapped with unnecessary fees, but city leaders say they need the money.
Pastor Jonathan Johnson says he was in disbelief when he was told his church would need to register for a business license.
It was almost $700. I said, where did this come from? We are federally and state exempt from taxes, and I really do feel like it's more of a dictatorship here in the city of Harvey at this point.
He has put these people in some really precarious situations. He's a problem, at least in my opinion. So it's interesting that now he's trying to run for township supervisor. And a great way to try, what the article says, to build that inroad is, hey, you know what, Henyard, you're in trouble. I'm gonna take whatever little bit of political capital that she may even have. At this point, I don't know if it's that much. Come into the Harvey Village Hall, speak your truth or whatever you think makes sense, to try to stop Napoleon Harris. So this is the strategy. Napoleon Harris, he doesn't live in a township. That's what they're saying, right? Now it's about who lives in what area. I mean, Napoleon Harris is a multimillionaire. I'm guessing because he went to the NFL, he probably has properties all over the place. I don't know if that necessarily is going to be used effectively to cut him off as being the supervisor. I mean, he's running at this point. I think even if Henyard does not get on the ballot, right? If she does not get back on that ballot, she is still going to work with Christopher Clark and try to get him elected for township supervisor. Let's say, for instance, the judge comes down with the verdict saying, you know what, Henyard, you're out. You're out. This is your last moments to be supervisor. You're done. She is going to move all her resources and she's going to go and back Christopher Clark. Hey, this is my opinion. I don't live there. I don't know if you guys want to deal with Christopher Clark. I'll just say that. Because since he's going to basically do what Henyard does, right? He'll be the mayor and he'll be township supervisor. Things in Harvey are not great. I think a lot of people can already. If you check out Harvey, like I said, check out some of the videos I talked about it. Things are not great over there either. It may be worse.
Chapman's attorney says her arrest was politically motivated.
She's a sitting alderman. He commanded her arrest. The police department determined that there was no charges to be filed.
Chapman is an outspoken critic of Mayor Christopher Clark and his administration. She says she was also falsely arrested in August, accused of trying to attack the city administrator. NBC5 was told another city official was arrested in connection with this incident, but we've not been able to confirm that.
This entire thing is a bunch of nonsense, and then having someone sit in custody for over 5 hours for absolutely no legitimate reason.
So I don't know if you want Christopher Clark, but if Henyard can try to run the narrative that Napoleon Harris was trying to illegally push her out of her position to be on the ballot, then that's, I think, the strategy that they're going to get into. I believe that every single person that talked was paid. A lot of people don't even believe in the news. So if you're catching a lot of stuff on news, like, your major channels, most people don't believe what's being told on the news anyway. People already, not necessarily afraid of the news or apprehensive, that's the word, of what they hear on the news. They would have to be fully checking out the meetings, applying FOIA requests. They'll have to be checking out independent. Most people are not doing that. Most people are watching sports. They're watching their stories. They're watching reality TV. They're not watching this as closely as many of us are. Average person does not. So it's whatever that they've been told is what they will run with, unless they try to dig a little deeper or the feds show up. If the feds come in with some handcuffs and arrest her, then that changes everything. If Clark wins, he will appoint Henyard as a trustee as soon as he can. He's running with trustees. I'm not sure who's leaving as the trustees, who isn't, but that's definitely probably. I mean, if this happens, right? Let's say, for instance, that somehow Henyard, whatever the hell they're doing, she gets off the ballot, and then somehow Christopher Clark becomes supervisor. And it's probably a long shot because I think Napoleon Harris is famous. Usually that's all you need. I mean, if you look at certain things that have been happening the last couple of years, if you're more famous and the other person, most likely you're probably able to get in. But if somehow Christopher Clark is able to beat Napoleon Harris, yeah, he's going to have to reward it. I mean, this is all the problems that we have in politics. It's everyone's doing favors. And if the favors aren't getting done, then there's a problem. Or there's something you either help the person with, either personally or professionally, and the call comes in for you to, you got to pay back now. Like, I took care of you in this situation, you got to take care of me. And all these infighting and all this back and forth, these deals, these backroom deals, are never really about the residents. They're not about the people. It's about positioning. It's a game. It's a game of chess. And Henyard's not a great chess player. I would bet she does not know how to play chess. But Clark, as crazy he is, I think he's a lawyer. He's definitely not a stupid person. And he's probably using Henyard, right? He's like, hey, listen, I need to get some inroads here. Let me bring this to Harvey. Maybe I can get some people who like her to go on my side because I'm going to try to get this supervisor seat. So, but in terms of the future of what's going on with the township, I'm assuming there's going to be a meeting in the new year, the first week of the new year. No, the second week of the new year. So the 6th, 7th, they're going to have to come in. If they are missing 4 meetings, they probably can't miss this next one. They may have to show up, or if they continue to boycott. I mean, I'm very interested to see what the strategy is, because this is the fascinating part of it. What's the next move? What the other side is going to do? Everyone is consulting their lawyers and strategists, and they're saying, okay, what's the next move? Henyard said she's going to take, I guess, Gonzalez and Carlisle to court. I don't think anything is going to happen. If they didn't miss the 5th meeting, then what's the point of that? They'll probably just show up to the next meeting and everything gets resetted, and then everyone's back at square one.